Hey, Barbara.
Hello.
Evening, everyone. Hello, Margaret. How are you? Nice to see you here. So, today you've only got two of us, actually. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be talking about Larnach Castle and the history of Larnach Castle, the stories surrounding the hauntings, and also a bit about the first investigation I did there, and also the investigation that I organised for Quantum and Haunted New Zealand to do, where Barbara came along. But first off, before we get started on that, I just want to say that we are missing one of our sidekicks, Natasha. She's actually over in Norfolk Island doing.
So jealous.
I know, so jealous. And the reason why we're jealous is because she's doing a plethora of in paranormal investigations over on Norfolk Island. It's not the first time she's been either, is it, Barbara?
No, it's not. Anne and Renata are frightfully. Here we go. Look, they're not there. Yeah. What are they called? Oh my gosh.
They're called Frightfully Good.
That's right. Yes.
And I think it's
they
called
run tours.
Frightfully Good Haunted Tours or something like that. They go all over the world doing these tours. We're going to have them actually on our show live in a few weeks. So definitely come back for that one because that's going to be an absolute belter. They're going to talk about what they do.
Yeah.
So we're not going to talk about what they do because they're going to talk about what they do.
No, but we're going to make... Sorry.
No,
Tracey.
you're all right.
I was going to say we're going to make Tasha tell us all about her adventures in an upcoming episode. We're going to hear about all of what she's done and the investigations she's done with that group on Norfolk Island. So I'm super looking forward to hearing about that.
Oh my gosh, so am I. I mean, it's like I'm so jealous because this is one of the ones that I wanted to go on. And unfortunately, with family commitments, I can't go off and do as much as I would like to do at the moment. So I'm so looking forward to seeing her upcoming episode that she's going to do and tell us all about what she got up to and the investigations she did. But before we get started, let's talk about today's news.
Okay, that's me. And today we have some very sad news to report. K2 Enterprise, the manufacturers of the K2 EMF meters, commonly known as the K2 meter, has gone under, according to a recent post from Gary Goldberg.
Barbara, I don't think they heard you because you were talking over the music.
I don't normally do the news. I'll start again, okay? I'll don't do the music again, Tracey. Okay, so what I actually said was that today we have some very sad news to report. K2 Enterprise, the manufacturer of K2 EMF meters, commonly known as K2 meter, the K2 meter, has gone under, according to a recent post from Gary Goldberg. The demise of this business is due to many cheap imitation meters flooding the market. And these counterfeit devices are often of a very inferior quality, not accurate, and not calibrated. As a result, I found I could purchase one of these fake K2 meters from Temu, AliExpress or Amazon for as little as $13.21 New Zealand, while a genuine one would set me back $129 New Zealand. So it's no wonder that these knockoffs have damaged the market. For those of you who are not familiar with the K2 meter, like I would be surprised if you weren't, but hey, if you're not familiar with them, they detect electromagnetic fields and they measure the electromagnetic fields in milligauss with LEDs indicating the range of milligauss present. So they don't tell you exactly how much EMF is there. You get it within a range. Many believe, of course, that the presence of an unexplained electromagnetic field is indicative of the presence of a ghost or a spirit. So these devices are very popular with ghost hunters due to their simplicity, their use of ease, and their relatively expensive price. The K2 meter originally actually went on sale in the late 1990s, and it was originally manufactured for the EMF safety market. However, it wasn't a particularly popular product, and K2 Enterprise was on the verge of failing until a psychic called Chris Fleming used one as a communication tool on his TV show. Then, shortly after, the Ghost Hunters show used one at the Karen Tate house. Following this, the popularity of the K2 meter soared, and although these days they are mostly shunned by serious paranormal investigators, because they're thought of as not being particularly accurate or reliable enough, it is absolutely still a must-have piece of equipment for many paranormal enthusiasts and ghost hunters. Tracey and I were talking earlier about how we could tell the difference. How do you know if you've got a fake K2 meter? And this one here is a fake. We know that because the colours are slightly off. The end green is supposed to be a teal colour, whereas this is a very dark green. And also the grey pieces around the sides and the sides. Normally they have lines through them, like a pattern of patterned lines. So this one here that you're looking at is actually one of the counterfeit K2 meters. So that is the news for this week. What do you
Thanks
think
for that,
about this,
Barb.
Tracey?
I can understand why they have closed, I guess. The market is absolutely flooded with the knockoffs. And as everyone can see, Kelly Kavanagh's comment, knockoffs or branded models, all K2 meters are a waste of space in paranormal investigation. I tend to agree with that. I don't believe that they have a place. There's too many false positives that can occur, both with the authentics, the originals, and also with the knockoffs. There's far better EMF meters out there to actually use when you're looking at using EMFs in paranormal investigating. So saying that, it's still really, really sad that that's occurred. And I think what people need to realize about these knockoffs is that the componentry is really substandard and they're not built to last. So they start cutting out, if you like, really badly after a very short period of time. So there are a few places that do sell the original and the authentic K2s. Oztech Paranormal is one of them, and I'll link their website down in the description after the live. Gary Golka's Pro Measure company is another. And I think the Ghost Hunter store is another one where they can guarantee that they are the authentics. And
I think Ghost Shop also has them.
Oh, yep, right. And they do have stocks left, but when those stocks go, that's going to be it. That's going to be your whack. So, yeah, that's the news today, which is a bit sad. So, let us get on to Larnach Castle, and what we're going to do is we're going to show you some photos. And a lot of people got very confused and thinking that we were actually on location. We wish. And maybe in a couple of years we could get back on location and do a live from the location for you, a live stream. But for today, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be discussing the history of Larnach with you, and also discussing the alleged hauntings of Larnach Castle. So if any of you have been, if any of you have experienced anything, if you visited there, then by all means get in the chat, whack it up, and we'll feature your comment and we'll discuss it with you. We're all about interaction. This is the whole point of doing a live. So the more comments we can get, the more questions we get asked, the better. So let's crack on. And I will just flick up the first photo that we've got, which is the exterior of Larnach Castle. So Larnach Castle is in Dunedin, for those people who don't know. The castle was actually, well, should I say, the first stone was laid for building the castle in 1871. It took 12 years to complete the actual construction of it. And the ballroom wasn't erected until 1885 and was actually completed in 1887. So the ballroom itself took 2 years to complete. The stables were built in 1874 because it was really important for Larnach to actually have somewhere to house his horses, because that was the only means of transport into Dunedin. And Larnach was actually a politician. So he had to keep going into Dunedin constantly for his work. The castle itself has had so many uses over the years. After William Larnach's death, which we'll discuss a bit later on, it was kept in the family and it was used as a nun's retreat. The family actually sold the castle in 1906 to the government, and the government utilised it as an insane asylum for the overflow of the patients from Seacliff Mental Asylum in Dunedin. It actually fell into disrepair and changed hands a number of times, and in 1941 it was purchased by another gentleman who used it to billet over 80 US soldiers from World War II. It changed hands again, and then in 1967 the Barker family purchased it, and they're the ones that have it today, and they've set about lovingly restoring that to what we see today. So here's a few more. I mean, this is a great photo. This is one of Barbara's, and I know Cal's took one as well. She took one pretty much the same, but from slightly a different angle. It's actually quite impressive. So this is the castle itself. Now, listen, if anyone is here from outside of New Zealand, this is pretty much all we've got as a castle, okay? Please don't shoot me. You know, it doesn't measure up to anything that's in Europe or the UK or including Ireland, Scotland, and Wales. So this is our equivalent of a castle. It's a manor house, effectively. I'm just going to go through some photos so that you can have a good look. There's actually quite a lot of quite a lot of space. We're talking, I don't know how much is actually held there now, but we were talking over 300 acres because it was a working farm initially. That's a great shot with the fountain. There's the outside of the place is really, really stunning. It really is.
I was just going to say, in some of these photos, you can actually see the ballroom, which is that one there.
Yep, just on the edge.
Right is the ballroom, which is actually was built well after the castle had been built, and it's attached by a long hallway. So you've got the actual castle, and then to the right hand side you have the large ballroom, which I'm sure Tracey will give you the details about.
So that's a great shot, and nice blue skies. It was actually freezing when we were there the last time. I think it was freezing the first time too, actually.
It's always
it's right up on the hill, so you've got a lot of the wind coming off the coast. You've got some fantastic views, and there is a viewing platform that you can look, and you can actually look over the inlet, if you like, that comes into Dunedin. So there's some fantastic shots that have been taken, should I say, of this place. Again, really nice from the outside, absolutely beautiful gardens, and well worth a walk around the grounds just for the gardens themselves. It's actually definitely worth having the time, if you're in Dunedin, to go and pay the entrance fee. At the moment, we're just going to show you the grounds, and we'll come up to the inside of the castle very shortly and the outside of the castle.
It's so well worth going. Like, even if you only get to see the grounds, it's just incredible. It really, really is.
It's a beautiful place. Oh, by the way, I hope you guys have got yourself a Friday night beverage while we're doing this, because I certainly have. I'm sure Kelly has. Cal, I'm sure you have. Right. Okay. This is a beautiful area. Now, at this particular time that this was taken, it wasn't fully covered, but it gets absolutely fully covered. And I believe they've hosted weddings and garden parties in here throughout their time. And there's some more of the there's just so many areas to the exterior part of this castle, eh, Barb?
There is. Are you sick of doing the outside now?
Yeah, we'll
that's all good. I'll start putting
the outside. I'll just leave that up there while I have a bit of a chat about other things.
Yeah. And I'll put some photos.
Okay, cool. With regards to the family that owned the castle originally, the Larnach family, who the castle is obviously named after, a lot of scandal and tragedy surrounded the family. So William Larnach actually had 3 wives. He was married to Eliza Jane, and they had 6 children. And unfortunately, she died in 1880 from a stroke when the final child was just a baby. She is actually rumoured to have died within the castle alone because William was away on business in Australia. They delayed the burial by a week so that he could return. So there is a mausoleum built in the Northern Cemetery for the Larnach family, and Eliza and a few others of the family are interred in there. However, that wasn't built when Eliza died. So it is surmised that Eliza was kept somewhere, probably at the funeral home, for, I think it was 8 months until the mausoleum was built, and then she was interred in the mausoleum. After that, he married Eliza's half-sister. So she had already been living with her sister and her brother-in-law. So William's bedroom in the castle was actually located between both half-sisters' bedrooms, which staff have been known to have, at the time, remarked on as being rather strange. Mary, Eliza's half-sister, who Larnach married after Eliza died, was said to be a bit of a drunken wench. And the children who were of a particular age didn't actually approve of the union. So it apparently appears to have been a marriage of convenience because Mary doted on the infant child of Eliza's. So Mary died. It lasted until Mary died. She died in Wellington Hospital. She contracted blood poisoning after being operated on. And she's also interred in the Larnach mausoleum. So then he went on to marry his 3rd wife, which is where all the controversy is about, Constance. On his 58th birthday, he married her. She was 37 at the time. So it's rumoured that Constance and William's younger son, Douglas, began an affair. And with William away all week in Parliament buildings, it was very lonely. I mean, I'm sure you can imagine. Back in the 1880s, it was stuck right up on that hill. It was very cold, it was very windy, and it was very lonely for Constance. So apparently she struck up a friendship with Douglas, the younger son, which developed into something more. There's no proof at all to substantiate it that has come out. And she did not remarry after William's death, and she died at the age of 86, having not been remarried. She's actually buried in Wellington. So, excuse me. It is said in places that Constance and the older son, Donald, had an affair, but Donald is actually buried in the family tomb. Now, if that had occurred, Donald would not be buried in the family tomb. So I think it's pretty safe to say that those reports are incorrect. So further tragedy struck this family when William's oldest daughter, Kate, contracted typhoid and subsequently died. She was 29 at the time. She's interred in the tomb. He was also plagued with himself with tragedy and misfortune. He had terrible, terrible trouble with business affairs and banking investments failing, and he borrowed heavily. He was said to have been very depressed prior to his death. Incidentally, he died by shooting himself through the head in Parliament buildings. He had purchased a pistol 3 weeks prior. Some people say it is rumoured that he got a letter, and it was after he got the letter that he shot himself. And some people say that the letter was informing him of Constance's and Douglas's affair. But no one really knows, because the story also is that the letter got burnt in the fire, so which was going at the time. So whoever found him obviously did a little bit of cleanup there, it sounds like. The oldest son, Donald, married an actress and had 3 daughters. 2 lived in New Zealand and 1 lived in England with their mother. He also committed suicide by shooting himself in the head, and he's interred in the family tomb along with his father, his mother, his sister, and his stepmother. The remaining members of the family are buried elsewhere. At the time, William died intestate, which means that he with the law at that time, it meant that the wife would get 1/3 of the inheritance and 2/3 would be divided amongst the children. This wasn't enough for Douglas, the older brother, and he spoke to his siblings, and they all took Constance to court for her inheritance, and shockingly enough, they won. She got nothing. So Douglas, the one that was supposedly having an affair with her, was the only one that stood up for Constance. So it would, to be quite honest with you, think about it. A word here, a little bit of gossip there, and to discredit her so she wouldn't get any inheritance. That would have been easily done in those days as well. So their children lived here, lived in Australia, and lived over in the UK. Their offsprings as well, their children's offsprings as well. So what about the hauntings at Larnach, Barbara?
Okay. What happened to the photos?
I'm doing it now. We're going to the inside.
Okay, because I can't talk and put the next lot of photos up, but that's all good. There are a lot of supposed hauntings at Larnach Castle. Of course, William Larnach is supposed to still walk the hallways and the rooms of the castle, particularly downstairs in the billiards room, and apparently also in the ballroom. Kate is also said to haunt the ballroom. Eliza, his first wife, who passed away, had a very early death, leaving behind her young family. The youngest, Gladys, was still a baby at the time. She is, and then her husband then married her half sister. So she is supposed to also haunt the landing of the stairs just outside the bedrooms, where the bedrooms are. And I could see why she might. I'd be pretty annoyed if I died that young and left my family, and then my husband married my sister. I'd be pretty darn annoyed too.
Although I do have to say something about the legend about Kate haunting the ballroom because her father built it for her.
Yeah.
Kate actually died in 1891, and she was 29 at that particular point in time when she died, right? It is said that Kate was given the ballroom on her 21st birthday, and this is repeated all over the net. Believe you me, I have done months and months of research into this. The building wasn't even built when Kate was 21. She was 21 in 1883. The ballroom didn't even begin construction until 1885, and it wasn't completed until late 86, 87. So at the time that she died, at the time that she was 21, the ballroom didn't even exist. So it would have been very difficult to grant it to her as a gift, as is reported everywhere on the internet. What I did find a newspaper clipping that stated that the ballroom was actually gifted to all of the children at Colleen, one of the youngest girls, coming of age ball. Now, a coming of age ball back then, I believe, was 21. And the actual dates do match up, interestingly enough. So that kind of doesn't really fly, to be quite honest with you. What we've got my camera's gone, guys. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know what's happened to it.
Okay, it looks as though Tracey's sound may have also gone. Lucky I'm still here. We were talking about the hauntings of the castle. Here she is.
Yeah, I'm back. So sorry, guys.
That's all right.
What we were saying was that there's no way that Kate could have been given the ballroom on her 21st, because the ballroom wasn't even started being built to 2 years after her 21st, and wasn't even finished till 2 years after that. So she was actually 25 when that ballroom was completed, 26 when that ballroom was completed. So it was actually given to all of the children. It was dedicated to all of the children at Colleen, one of the younger daughters, at her coming of age ball. And I found a newspaper clipping that confirms that. So to say that Kate haunts the ballroom is a very romantic notion, but not actually necessarily true, unfortunately. So this is where urban legend starts becoming fact. So what part of what we do is get rid of that urban legend.
Exactly. And like I said, these are just like, they are basically the legend of Larnach, legends of Larnach Castle. Of course, nobody actually knows for a fact that William Larnach wanders through the hallways. No one actually knows that Eliza hangs out in the hallway outside her bedroom door. But there are lots and lots of stories, including that staff members and visitors have had many odd occurrences. Some have reported, as one of the waiter who was with us the night that we were there, he said that he has seen several times a fast shadow flit across the doorway, as though someone was walking down the hallway outside. There's been reports of a young boy who's often seen in the garden, and in fact he's even held people's hands, apparently. No one has any clue who he may be. I've heard of the apparition of...
Barb, sorry to excuse you, to interrupt you, you. Sorry to interrupt you, but that little boy is actually shown in a photo with a nurse.
A twin? I have read some accounts that there are photos of a nurse-type figure, like a real nurse. We're not talking spirit or anything here, folks. A nurse, and there are two little blonde twin boys.
That's
with
right.
her.
Yeah.
But no one seems to really know who they were, and it's only speculation. The fact that this little boy has been seen by a few visitors in the gardens, but no one actually knows who he is. There's been
And
reports.
I just want to say, Jack says that her sister-in-law said the second floor is very oppressive and feelings of not being welcome were really strong.
Absolutely.
I can attest to that wholeheartedly. We'll get to that in a minute, Jax.
That was probably Eliza. She's a one
Yeah.
pissed off woman.
Oh, is she ever?
Um, yeah, but also people, claim that they'll be standing in one of the rooms and they will feel a presence rush up to them, and at times will stand between them and the person that they came into the room with. One staff member insists that she was pushed down those front stairs that you saw earlier. And she was quite injured by it. She had bleeding knees. There's also, like I said, a man being seen, but also a man holding a large dog, holding the leash of a large dog. That has also been
Yeah.
reported. I think I've covered most of the thing, but a lot, just an absolute myriad of reported possibly paranormal occurrences. So that was why we were just gagging to get down there.
Absolutely. Now let's have a talk about the investigation side of things. So Kelly Kavanagh, who's in the chat at the moment, is part of the Quantum Foundation, and her and I first did an investigation there in, oh God, Kelly, help me out here. Was it 2015? Was it? I can't remember now. It feels like a very, very long time ago. And there was nothing that we captured at that investigation, although we did capture a questionable EVP. So we did capture questionable audio while we were in Constance's room, and in direct relation to my question or my statement that I didn't believe that Constance had an affair with Larnach's youngest son, and if she was prepared to speak and tell us. 2014. Thank you, Kelly. It was 2014. Thank you. If she was prepared to speak and tell me what the answer was to that, I would make sure that I got the word out to the world. And very faintly, an EVP came through and it said, I didn't do it. It was a whisper, an absolute whisper. I had this really strong feeling that she didn't do it. I always have. I don't have that EVP. Someone else captured that, and I didn't get a copy of it at the time. So that's really, really unfortunate. But it was very clear, and it was very there. It was very silent. It was very quiet, should I say? But it was definitely there. So I decided jog my memory again, guys. Was it 2022?
Yes, it probably was, I think.
It was after COVID, right? Yeah, it was after COVID. 2022, I think it was. I organized, I went into talks with the management of Larnach Castle for several weeks and managed to secure an investigation there. Because the location was so large, I spoke to my team about inviting a team that we were on friendly terms with, which was Haunted New Zealand at the time, and Barbara Casely was a member of that particular team.
That team then.
Back then, she's not now. So yeah, thanks, Cal. 2022. Rely on Cal for the years, man. Honestly, thank you. And so I invited them along to join us. We were going to be staying there for 2 nights in total, and one night we were investigating the castle, and the next night we were going to be investigating the stables. So we did the stables the first night, and we did the castle the second night. Now, let's just keep in mind here, there's only been one other team that's got in to actually do a bona fide investigation of two other teams of Larnach Castle, and one was was way back. I think they were called Spookers. I can't remember exactly what their name was. They were a Christchurch team, I believe. And the manager actually told us that they ran out terrified in the middle of the night from the stables. I don't know why, but they did. I've stayed at the stables on 2 occasions. I think the first time, Cal's, was it for 2 nights or 3 nights? I think it was 3 nights the first time, and the second time it was 2 nights. I haven't had anything that made me run screaming out of the stables and refusing to stay in there any longer, but I have had some personal experiences, shall we say, which we'll get to in a minute. So, how many investigators from Haunted New Zealand went down, Barb?
I think it was 4. Yeah, I think 4 of us came down.
And I think there was 6 from Quantum that were there. Bex, myself, Kels, Jaden, Kristen. No, there was 7 from Quantum that were there. I think there was 12 people in total. So what we did was we split everyone up. We, as I've said previously on previous podcasts, we don't go anywhere unless there are 2 investigators going together. That's from a health and safety perspective and also from a corroborating evidential perspective. So we split the team up, and 2 people went off here and 2 people went off there, and maybe 3 went off here and 3 went off there. So the first night we did the grounds, because on my first investigation there was a very clear, audible creep 2 nights, Kelly, both times. Thank you very much. There was a creepy, audible EVP that was captured the very first night we were there on the first investigation with another team that no longer exists. And it was, I was having some promo photos taking on the big entrance steps that we showed you earlier, and with somebody else. And the guy who was taking the promo shot said, "Okay, guys, you can breathe now." And then this very creepy voice came across loud and clear. It was as clear as me talking to you now. And it said, "Or they could be dead." Like that. And that was really freaky. I heard that with my own ears, not at the time, but on the replay, after it had been put through audio analysis software. Nothing had been manipulated on it. And the volume had just been amplified, and that was there clear as a bell. So the second time that we went, we did the stables the first night, and we did the grounds the first night. So we split half the team up, and half of the team went off into the grounds, and the other half of the team did different parts of the stables, because there's an upstairs and a downstairs part. And I'll show you some photos now about the stables. And then we did a big swap around after that. So everyone got a chance to investigate every angle. And thanks, Cal. Thank you. Kelly Kavanagh, who was with me on the first and the second investigation, says that she can corroborate that she heard the EVP that was captured on the very first investigation back in 2014, and that it was a bit spooky. So thanks for that, Cal. I remember that EVP. I don't have that. Again, I don't have a copy of it, which is very unfortunate, but that's the way it is. So this is a photo of the front of the stables. Now, there's different accommodation parts. There's different levels of accommodation, should I say, that you can stay in at Larnach. So this is the stables, and this is, I don't know, shared accommodation. You don't have toilets in your room. You don't have showers in your room. Upstairs, you have a shared facility, if you like.
But you have private rooms. You're not sharing
Yeah.
with someone you don't know. They're
No,
all private
you have
rooms.
private rooms. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's like 6 doors that come off the main central part upstairs. And you
We
book a
have a
room
photo of that, Tracy. The
coming up.
next
Excellent.
yeah, yeah.
And that's it. Across from the courtyard here, you will find the lodge, which is a different level again.
I've actually stayed in the lodge and it's absolutely beautiful, but completely different style of accommodation. It's sort of
Absolutely, yeah.
luxury. You have your, your ensuite and the most beautiful views. But to be honest, I preferred the stables because it was such character accommodation. It was really awesome.
I agree with that as well. And the fact that it's reputedly haunted and the lodge
That
isn't.
helps. That does
It
help.
definitely helps for us, doesn't it? And then there's a third accommodation, which is actually off the ground of the castle and up the road further. And I can't remember what they call that, but that is 5-star luxury accommodation. And yes, Kelly, the breakfast in the stables is amazing. So let's just show another pic here. Hello. Hello, Bob. This is Bob. Kelly, I think it was Kelly that Cal's that actually named him that first time round. And it's a life-size horse that's sitting in the stable area. Yeah, Bob, exactly. That we all love and loads of people got their photo taken with, and Bob loves us.
Yeah.
Bob loves us. So this is the upstairs of the stable. So you've got like it's kind of, you know what this reminds me of, Barb? It's kind of a little bit weird, but it reminds me of a gallery of a courtroom. That's what it reminds me of.
Yeah,
So
it's a very strange set out, and
isn't it?
those doors. I mean, the 2 doors at the end that you see, they are the showers. And then you can see the door to the left. Well, that's one of the rooms, and then the other rooms all kind of just went off that gantry. It was very unusual.
So this was our table. This is
The
where
table.
should I say, the absolutely famous table. We sat here and we had our investigation brief. We had our investigation debrief. We had our debrief that went till 9 o'clock in the morning with copious amounts of wine afterwards. It was the table. As you can see, it's the actual original cobblestones that are on the floor of the stable, like it would have been back in the day. And they still have the loose boxes here, although they are used as storage. They've only got Bob in one of them, bless him. So this is another shot. This is the table next to us, which no one sat at, I have to say.
But this is also the area we might get to it later on, although I do note we're starting to run short on time.
But we're not limited to a time, Barb, on a live.
Oh, of course. The area down the end, when we might tell you about we had EMF alerts from various devices, and it actually seemed to be moving. We had several devices on different tables around the room, and it was almost as though something was literally moving around that room and setting the devices off in turn. It was actually really interesting.
And if you look down the left-hand side of the wall, where you can see that black support pillar, if you turn hard left there, there's actually a communal lounge. Now, we hadn't even begun to investigate yet, and someone was just testing out an EVP, and they got testing out an EMF meter, and they got an EMF reading. So they yelled out that they were getting an EMF reading, and it was moving. It was actually moving slightly around the room. So I took another EMF down there, and I captured the reading only for a couple of seconds before it completely disappeared. And then I think Barbara came down with a third different meter, and we got corroborations from 3 different meters that there was an EMF occurring. That was actually moving slightly
Appeared to
around the
be
room.
moving almost from table to table because we were placing our equipment. I mean,
We
we're very careful not to place all our equipment. They weren't all on the same table. They were well spread out in the end, and it was yes, Cal, not a cater, not a cater, okay,
not okay, too.
and so yeah, they weren't setting each other off. We were very careful of that, but they were definitely going off in turn as though something was moving around the room. And it was the far end of the room. It wasn't the end with the big heaters or anything like that. It was the
No.
far end of the room. We'd done baseline readings prior. And
Nothing.
fine. So, yeah, that was really interesting.
And the fact remains too that there was nothing. We did the electrical wiring in the wall in that room as well, and there was nothing. I got a blip from a light, and then it completely disappeared. And I removed the meter, and I took it back, and there was nothing. So we have no idea what that was. We couldn't track it down in that room. We couldn't track it down in this room. It just constantly moved, which was kind of interesting in itself.
And then just disappeared. And then just disappeared.
Yeah, it completely disappeared.
Yeah.
I think, have we got any? Oh, we had some of the upstairs, didn't we? Where are we? Let's go back to the upstairs. So we had equipment out here all night, as well as cameras running. And we had EVP machines. This is going to be funny. EVP machines in the toilet. Because quite a few people mentioned the feeling in the Philly's toilet.
I actually I actually left a audio recorder for the night. There's a reason for it, which we'll get to eventually, but I left an audio recorder for the night in that toilet. It was interesting.
She caught so many people going tinkles. It wasn't funny.
I did, but I also caught a very interesting, which we'll tell you about later on, but I did actually capture something which was very unusual as well.
So after the first night of investigating, we decided to have wines like we always do after an investigation. That's our wind down period.
We can't just finish and go straight to bed. It's like, no, that doesn't work.
You're up and your brain's working and you're trying to debunk stuff and you're investigating and, you're boom, 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 boom on the ball all the time. So we don't go straight to bed. Some people do and they can, but I can't. Yeah, and there's other people like Barbara that can't. Kelly can't. Ian can't. So we tend to stay up and we have a few wines. Kristen decided she was going to go to bed. She was tired. First of all, she said, I'll have a wine. And then she went, oh, you know what? No, I'm not. I'm going to go to bed. And I said, oh, okay, mate. Do you want me to come with you? This is the 2 up rule that Quantum has. You don't go anywhere by yourself. And she said, no, I'm fine. I'll just head up. And I went, you sure? And she's like, yep, no problem. So off she toddles upstairs. We're sitting downstairs and there's me, Ian from Paranormal Researchers, who was part of Haunted New Zealand at the time, Barbara from now Paranormal Researchers, which was part of Haunted New Zealand at the time, and Kelly. I was
going upstairs to the toilet at the time, so I was near the top of the stairs. I was quite close to where it happened.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we were sitting downstairs at the table, and we just hear this almighty bang. We were sitting here. We just hear this almighty bang. Oh, no. First of all, we hear a bang, a thud, and then someone yell out at the top of their voice in horror, or if you like, a very surprised fuck at the top of their voice. And all of us stopped and looked at each other and went, what was that? And the next minute, one of Quantum's members, Kristen, comes running down the stairs doing up her pants.
She was terrified. She looked like she'd
Oh,
seen a ghost.
yeah, she was as white as
She
a sheet.
was. She really was.
And you could tell quite clearly that she had, oh, hi, Ethan. Good to see you in, mate. You could tell quite clearly that she had seen something. It was blatantly obvious she'd seen something. And so we're all like, what the hell happened there? And she's like, look, I don't lock the toilet door because I got locked in a shopping mall toilet once. And I had a panic attack and I couldn't get out. I could not get out of the toilet and I was on my own. So she said, I never lock those doors anymore. I just put my foot up against the door to keep it closed. She said, and someone kicked that door open. So the first bang that we heard was the kick on the door. The second bang that we heard, which was twice as loud, was the door slamming against the wall. And the third exclamation, which was the fuck at the top of the voice, was Kristen getting a hell of a shock. And she came downstairs and she said, yeah, no, I'm going to have a wine now. I'm not going to go to bed. I'm going to stay up for a bit. She was absolutely shocked to her core. There was something odd about the toilet. I'm not saying that it was haunted, but there was definitely a different feel in the Phillies toilet. They've got two toilets, and I think one is called Stallions and the other one is called Phillies, from memory. And it was the Phillies toilet that had a little bit of a odd feel, if you liked, to it. So Barbara left her recording there, captured pretty much a lot of tinkling, but that was about it.
No, I think that's where I got.
That's right.
That's where I got the really weird in the very early hours of the morning. It's like this scream. It's like a scream, and then like someone's laughing. Yeah, it was really, really different. And that was from my recorder that I had in the ladies' toilet.
Yeah, and there was definitely a vibe in there. There's no two ways about that. I mean, I wasn't happy about going to the toilet, in all honesty. Even when I had someone with me, I wasn't happy about going to the toilet.
Yeah.
And neither was the person standing outside the door. So with regards to the upstairs, we did capture Barbara, myself, and a few other investigators were in the lounge downstairs, which is just around the corner to the left of this photo. There's a door, and we were in there, and we were doing a communication session. I think there was about 4 of us initially in there, and then I think then it turned to 5. And everybody else was outside of the building investigating the outdoor areas. They came back halfway through the communication session. I remember they made a lot of noise, and I remember yelling out to them because we'd actually said on the radio that we were doing a communication session. Someone had come across and said that they had finished their communication session and they thought that was us, which it wasn't. It was someone else outside. And so they came in and they were making a bit of noise and pulling out the bench seats and sitting down. And I yelled out to them to say, guys, can you please be quiet? We're in the middle of a communication session. And they said, I thought you'd finished. And I went, no, we haven't. And we're sitting there and one of the investigators walked in and joined us because I said, join us if you want to. But if you don't, be quiet. And we're sitting there and I pointed to the ceiling because there was walking upstairs. Now, definite footsteps. And it wasn't just 1 or 2. It was like 4 or 5 very deliberately placed feet. Now, I had since spoken to my tech manager and he said, no, that was us. And I went, no, it wasn't. Because I've checked the cameras at the same time and there is nothing.
We knew who was where and there was no one up there.
And he said, oh, it was us moving around the bench seats. And I went, no, it wasn't. These were footsteps. They were very clear, and they were definitely coming from above. They weren't coming from in here. And we've got cobblestones here. You're not going to hear footsteps on cobblestones. The crazy thing, if you remember, Barbara, was there's carpet upstairs, but these footsteps were like on bare floor.
Yes, yeah, I do recall that.
It wasn't like someone walking on a carpet.
Yeah,
It was like someone walking on a wooden floor.
Yeah.
So residual, possibly, and more than likely residual, I would say.
Mm.
So I'm just going to throw up a couple of more photos.
I've just started putting. We almost out of photos, so I just started putting randoms up. Most of these we have seen again. It was just so while we were talking, we can just people can see something.
Okay, cool. Now there was a couple. We didn't capture anything, and we can't say that we captured anything per se. Even those footsteps didn't really come out.
No, they didn't.
Clear.
No.
Because we actually heard them in real time. But we had cameras upstairs, but they're CCTV cameras, so they use what they call scratch audio, which is really bad audio. So it's really difficult to hear stuff. So they kind of really didn't come out. Barbara and I both heard them in real time, and I think maybe one other person in that room heard them, Barbara, from memory.
Yes.
But there was a few things that happened over the course of the weekend. Now, we're not saying...
Can I just say something, Tracey?
Because sure.
It was as the footsteps were as we were like, footsteps upstairs, who can hear them? It was just after that the moving EMF anomaly happened outside. It was around the same time.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Kristen, bless her cotton socks, and I wish she was here to corroborate this. But Kristen and I were sharing a room. Now, I deliberately chose to stay in a room that I hadn't stayed in last time. And so in the room, there was a queen-size bed and there was two singles. And between the queen-size bed and the two singles, there was a little bit of a dividing wall. It was a low dividing wall, but I couldn't actually really see all of Kristen and she couldn't really see all of me. Although it was easy to talk to each other. It was like a little half dividing wall type of thing from memory. And I was so tired. This was the second night, not the first night. Because the first night I stayed up till 9 a.m. in the morning drinking wine. And then I went to bed at 9 a.m. and I got up at 3 p.m. in the afternoon. Because I had been through Larnach Castle and done the tour of the grounds all before. So, whatever. Anyway, it was the second night and we'd gone to bed and Kristen was sitting up in bed and she was watching movies on her phone. I was so tired that I just said, oh, I'm going to sleep. Now, hang on. I'm just going to show a post from Cal. There was definitely nobody upstairs. I remember reviewing that footage from the upstairs DVR and they were caught on camera audio. Okay, sweet. So they were caught on camera audio. Thank you. So we went to bed. Kristen's up reviewing the footage. I'm lying down. I'm half yakking to her about stuff every so often, slightly drifting off to sleep, in and out, really, could be said. Pardon me. I am not putting this down to hypnagogic states of the state between sleeping and awake. I was actually awake with my eyes shut when this occurred. I had not drifted off. I was lying on my side, which I have to because of my lung disease. I can only lie on one side because my other lung is slightly collapsed, so I can't lie on that side and breathe at night. So I lie on my right-hand side, and I was yakking on and off to Kristen, every so often say something. And I felt 1, 2, 3 on my forehead. I felt someone brushing my fringe out of my eyes and across my forehead. And I just went bang, 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 bang. Because what had happened was a few weeks earlier, that had happened in my bedroom, and it was a freaking spider. And I have a phobia of these things. So I started slapping my face like crazy. And the next minute, nothing. And then a couple of seconds later, 1, 2, 3. Again, my fringe is quite thick. So when I put my head on the side, it doesn't actually fall to the side. It's not thinned out. So it's quite heavy. It doesn't really move that much. Again, I slapped my face. I sat up. I lay back down. A couple of minutes later, for a third time again, 1, 2, 3, brushing across my fringe, out of my eyes and off of my forehead. I never said anything at the time. I just thought, oh, for God's sake. Funny enough, Kristen got up at some stage to go to the toilet because the toilet's out.
I heard. I have my recorder.
Yeah, you heard. The toilet is out and is on the right-hand side of this photo. So she got up and she went to the toilet. And I heard the door go, and then I heard the door go again. And I turned around and I said, oh, no, I am off the clock. Fuck off, thinking it was ghosts. And Kristen goes, Tracey, it's me. And I went, oh, thank Christ for that. I thought it was bloody ghosts. Anyway, in the morning, I got up and we're getting packed and ready to leave. And I turned around to Kristen and I said, do you know what? I had the most funniest sensation last night. And I said, I was lying there and 3 times on 3 different occasions, I felt my fringe being brushed across my forehead 3 times. And she went white as a ghost. Her jaw dropped. Her eyes went out on stalks. And her exact words were, you are fucking kidding me. And I went, no. Why? And she said, because the exact same thing happened to me when I was watching the video. I was sitting up in bed and I was watching the video and I got 3 strokes across my forehead, brushing the hair out of off my forehead. And she said, and it happened twice. So it wasn't just once that I could put down to a mistake. It happened twice. And it happened 3 times with me.
Can I just say something there? Because quite often when you actually experience something that may be paranormal, oftentimes you don't even have time to be scared and you don't actually realize that it might have been paranormal until afterwards. And then by the time that's happened, it's gone. It's finished. It's done with. Too late to be scared then. And that's happened so regularly. You just don't realize at the time that, oh gosh, that could have been something a bit strange, but it's over. It's gone.
It's gone. Yeah, absolutely. And the thing is that normally, do you know what? You don't think that's strange when it happens at the time. It's not like I didn't think that was strange at the time.
Yeah.
It was just like, oh my God, my fringe is so freaking annoying. Why is it doing this? It never does this.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's all I thought after I got past the spider thing. And it wasn't until I mentioned it in the morning, and it wasn't so much mentioning it. It was the look of authenticity on Kristen's face when I mentioned it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There was no, oh yeah, that happened to me too. It was
It was
genuine.
a
She
holy
was
shit.
oh, yeah, it was a holy shit
Never.
moment. You're
Yeah,
shitting me because that happened to me last night
that's
when I
so
was
cool.
sitting up
That
watching
is
movies, yeah.
so cool. Absolutely. Um,
And I don't know if anyone else had any experiences that could be deemed as credible. Um, Kels, do you remember? Kelly? Um, I remembered that. Oh, Barbara, yours in the hallway. You smelt dog and you heard a
oh,
dog
yes,
barking.
yes, 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 yes. Okay, in the hallway between, that was why I pointed out to you guys the hallway between the actual castle and the ballroom, because we were walking through there. We'd walked through there a number of times through the
Oh,
day, and
hundreds of times.
it had all been fine. And then I could smell dog. It smelled like an S piece. It's kind of a mixture of disinfectant and dog. It almost smelled like the
You
SPCA.
said wet dog. I remember you saying wet dog.
Yeah, yeah. And so it's like, yeah, I've heard a couple of stories about a man being seen around the building, a large man with a large dog on a leash. And it's like, well, why don't we just try? We'll see if we can't get some sort of reaction from a dog. So we did. We attempted that. We sort of calling the dog and trying to, call it into us, trying to get some sort of some reaction of some sort, whether it be EMF or whether it be a sound or whether it be an actual feeling or footsteps or just something, anything would have done. And then one of the other team members, and now this may be like just uh, the power of suggestion. We'd been doing this for probably a good 15 minutes, and one of the other team members, who's not really prone to the power of suggestion, he, Ethan, and she suddenly said, I can smell wet dog as well. We kept trying. We did get a dog bark on our recorders. Upon reviewing, we heard a dog barking. We also around that time also heard a man shout something,
Yeah.
but we didn't actually get much. We certainly no EMF action, certainly no footsteps or anyone feeling a tail wagging beside them or anything like that. But we thought afterwards, it's like, well, actually, it may have been a working dog, and us calling it and trying to pet it was probably the
The
wrong
wrong
thing.
thing to
Had we
yes.
whistled and
Yeah.
commanded it to, stay or heal or
Or get him behind, as Fred
yeah,
Dagg
yeah,
used to say.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I really wish that we had, when we discovered, and this is part of being an investigator, you're like you revisit your investigations and you work out what you would have actually liked to have done better. For me, with that investigation, I just wish that we had treated it as a working dog, as it probably was, because that area had been a farming area. They did have a farm there, I think, didn't they, Tracy?
Yeah. That
Um,
was 300-acre farm and it was a working farm.
and
Yeah.
then later, the next day, like when we were looking through the castle, we came across, because of course having the dog experience, we were looking for signs of dogs, and a lot of the photos did have working dogs in them.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so it's one of those things I really wish that we had it
And
been, yeah,
and a very robust built man has
yeah,
been seen in that vicinity with a dog who
yeah.
apparently disappeared before the person's eyes.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that
Um,
particular hallway, someone had reported it, and don't ask me who, because there are so many legends and
my
stories.
God, yes, yeah,
But
yeah.
I had been told by a staff member actually that someone had been walking down that hallway in the dark. They had a torch. They pointed it down the hallway. They saw
Yes.
in the shadows in the side of the hallway a large man. The torch was moving, And so they didn't realize straight away what they had just seen, turned the torch back, and there was no large man there.
Yeah.
There was no man there. But they are absolutely certain that they had seen a man in the torchlight. Once again, lots and lots of reasons why they may have thought they saw a man. But as paranormal investigators, we have to kind of consider that maybe he did see something, maybe he didn't. So, and then with that, along with the fact that I could smell dog, I did think, right, let's try something here. Let's go for a dog.
And you guys were in the hallway going, come
I
here,
know.
boy, come here, boy, good boy, and all this
Had
sort of stuff. It
Tracey
was
wondering
actually
what
great.
the hell we were doing.
I'm like, holy shit, there's a dog downstairs. Let's go. Damn the investigation. I want to cuddle. But no dog.
Yeah. Well, that's
the other,
how I tend to investigate. As you know, Trey, I tend to just kind
absolutely.
of get right into
Well,
the...
it's what you got to do. It's what you got to do, right?
Yeah.
The other thing about that particular hallway, and I cannot remember who told me this, and it was a member of my team. It might have been Kristen. I wish she was here to tell me different. Hang on a second, Kelly. Nothing solid or physical, but I do remember going back to the stables to grab some equipment on the second night and going upstairs. I felt very uneasy and anxious, as if I was being watched/followed. I had the same feeling up there, actually. And that was when I was with somebody, to be quite honest. It just felt like there was someone skulking in the background.
Yes. Yeah.
It really
same
did
in my
upstairs.
room too. It just felt like there was someone watching me.
And Barbara said this to me the other day when we were having a discussion, and I mean, this was our first live. We were really, really nervous about doing. Well, I just damn near had a panic attack before. We were really, really nervous about doing this live because we don't have our techie person here that can work everything, so we had to kind of work it out on our own.
We've done it though. We've done it.
Yeah, we did it great for our first live. We're never going to be professional because we're too relaxed and low key and real for that. So it's always going to be real with us. That's just the end. That's the way it's going to be. But somebody told me, and I think it was Kristen, that in that hallway, I think it was her auntie, or was it Bex? It was someone on our team.
Yes.
You remember that?
Oh, we were there. Something about her auntie saw something, or...
Yes, and actually Kelly said she couldn't get out of there fast enough, and I am generally very skeptical. I have to admit, I've known Kelly for nearly 15 years now, and I've investigated with her on a few occasions, and I am skeptical, and I think I'm the dog's bollocks for being skeptical. This chick is way more skeptical than I am. So if she's getting some feeling like that, then it's something that you might want to actually take a little bit of notice of, because she's not the one to get those sorts of feelings. And the other thing that we do in Quantum is we don't allow you to voice those feelings to other people on the team. We get you to come to your case manager of that particular night or the lead investigator on that particular night and very quietly tell them what you're feeling. We don't want other people being permeated with what your thoughts and feelings are on a particular area, because next minute, mass hysteria about that particular room and everyone's feeling something. So we try and keep it on the down low. So Kelly would have either told no one because she was the case manager, or she would have come to me and she would have said something very, very quietly on the DL to me. Hello, Charlotte. Welcome. Thanks for joining us, hon. Nice to see you. What were we talking about? I interrupted us, Barbara, before I popped that up. I just thought that was...
I honestly can't remember.
That was really... But to put that up and say that Cal's felt that, and she is one of the most apart from me, she's one of the most skeptical people on the whole team. And
Mm.
like someone will say this happened, and she'll go, "Oh, yeah, really? Show me." That's her attitude. For her to say that she felt really uneasy and anxious when she went up there, and she felt like she was being watched and followed, I can actually attest to that. I had that pretty much every time I went upstairs, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I agree with that actually. Um, However, we kind of have to point out that we don't want to get for people to get the impression that you don't want to go to Larnach stables
Oh,
because
shit,
it's
no.
awful. It's amazing. It's amazing. You have to go.
I
You
tell
need
you what,
to go
it's
there.
beautiful. Have the dinner.
Oh my
Not
gosh.
cheap.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
not cheap,
Go to
but
the dinner at the
we are
castle.
talking 5-star dining. We are talking 5-star dining. And stay in the stables because the breakfast is damned five
We
star.
had to leave early. Like we
I
didn't get.
know. I
Oh, we
felt
must have got
so
breakfast the
sorry for
first
you guys.
day. We must have because we were there for 2 nights. So yeah, yeah. But I was
You
very
must have had it the
disappointed.
first day.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. We must have had it the first day. Although, did I miss it because I was so tired? Maybe.
Honestly, it was absolutely amazeballs. It really
Yeah,
was. It
yeah,
really was. And
yeah.
when you'd finished your plate, they were like, "Anything else? Would you like some more?" It was like, "Oh yeah, give me another poached egg on toast with bacon and hash browns, thanks. I'll do a round two." Um, but it was definitely worth it. Look, there's nothing scary at
No,
all about Larnach
no,
Castle.
no,
There's
no.
nothing scary about it. It's beautiful.
And
It's
if you are scared about staying in the stables, treat yourself to the lodge because
yes,
that's incredible. It's like luxury accommodation. Just make it a special weekend. Stay in the at the lodge and enjoy every second of it. Because the really good thing, folks, is if you are staying at Larnach Castle, that you get to the castle as and the grounds as well. You don't have to pay to go into the castle. You don't
yeah.
have to pay to go into the grounds. So it's all included. So really, it's really good value. To be honest, particularly if you're in the.
Cameron, you dick. You were, you dick. You were so not scared. Don't
Oh, it's
lie.
not scary at all.
I'm scared. It was on GHI and Ghost Hunt. Actually, it was. It was on Ghost Hunt International.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, and they debunked a lot of what occurred. I actually kind of felt a little bit sorry for our contact who was on the GHI program.
yeah.
I've interviewed her twice now. And she stated that she felt hands on her back. It was quite, what's the word I'm looking for? Not visible. That's if you're seeing it, but if you're feeling it, it's quite tactile. It was quite tactile. She felt
Okay, yeah.
hands on her back and she felt the shove.
She was the one who got pushed down the stairs. Um,
Correct.
yeah, yeah. So,
And Ghost Hunters International put it down to the fact that the stairs were uneven
yes, that's right. There
and
was that one
blah blah
stair.
blah
Yeah,
and all the rest of it.
yeah, yeah.
Hang on a sec. Cameron's got some. Ghost Hunt was the indie show that was based out of that mommy van that had cameras pointed at the crew.
Oh, that was
Yes,
the New
they
Zealand one. Yes.
actually, yeah, that was the New Zealand one. Oh, actually, well, just before I do that, um, Ghost Hunt
Sure.
was, yes, definitely. That was the New Zealand one, and they actually got quite a interesting still photo.
Yes, yes. But isn't it odd that they go in for one night and get a photo? I've got a
Well,
question.
the thing is that we don't know how many nights they go in for. I've been involved in program filming before,
Mm, mm.
and a 30-minute program that I was involved in actually took 3 nights to film. So normally these ghost hunting programs don't go there for the one night. They're there for 4 nights, and whatever you see, they base on the fact that it's one night. TV
Uh-huh.
land is very magical.
Mm, mm.
We had a particular scene in our program where someone went in to wake someone up to come and greet the sunrise, and they did that at 9 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Yes.
Bud, wake up. Sunrise is coming up. It's 5 a.m. We got to get up, mate. It was actually 9 p.m. at night at the time. So TV land is very, very magical. But yes, I remember the ghost hunt program, and they did get that. I wouldn't say it's compelling. I'd say it's interesting.
Yes.
And yes, Junker SC10,
Yeah.
tangible. Thank you. Thank you so much. That's definitely what I wanted to hear. There we go. Cal says, oops, sorry, wrong one. Cal says we all we all had breakfast together the first morning and had a good debrief. Yep, I think
Yeah.
it was.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
a question from Bunny Mad. Which stairs, servant or main stairs? Because main stairs in grand houses are always even. It was the main stairs, was it not?
It was the main stairs down out the front. It was the
Yeah, the
front
main
stair.
stair. It was the very front stairs, sweetie. And they are cobblestone. They are no, not cobblestone. Sorry, wrong word. Slate. They are slate,
Mm.
and they are uneven. But this particular individual, when we interviewed her, said that she felt tangible. Thank you, Junkers SC10, felt tangible hands on her back give her a shove. Now, that is the area where Kelly Kavanagh, where you heard that EVP from that very, I don't know what you'd call it, turning around when the photographer turns around and says, okay, guys, you can breathe now. And this voice says very loudly, or they could be dead. So that spooky, creepy voice that we heard, they were those stairs, which is interesting, Barbara, that there was an EVP caught on those stairs, and that's the stairs that person fell down.
Mm. Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I was just wondering. I wonder who it was. Like, I'd love to know who's pushing people down the stairs. Who's sort of scaring people off. It might be Larnach. Maybe that staff member had done something to annoy him, or I mean,
The
we'll
voice
never
that we
know.
heard,
We'll never know for sure.
the voice that we heard wasn't Larnach. That's honestly, it wasn't the voice that would come from a man of that stature. That's the
Okay.
crazy thing.
Okay.
Kelly's just said, don't be scared of staying there and don't be influenced by our experiences. They are just our personal experiences. Absolutely. You know what? Do you know how many times I went up and down those goddamn bloody stairs
Yeah.
at the
Yeah.
front with a lung complaint? I mean, I was, by the time I got to the bloody top, every single time. But I went up and down those stairs that weekend so many times and nothing happened to me.
Hi, Colliette.
Thank you so much, Colette. Really appreciate it. I was so nervous. I had a little bit of a panic attack before I came on.
Just a wee one.
Just a wee one.
But yeah, I mean, just an amazing place to visit. I just encourage everyone. And we were lucky to get to investigate there. It was a massive privilege for us to go. Anybody who's thinking about contacting them and saying, "Can we
Please
please
don't.
investigate?" Please don't. It was, it took a lot of organising on Tracey's behalf. We were aware that it was a massive privilege, and I think it'll be quite some time.
The other thing is too that there has been a couple of other teams that have said that they've gone there and investigated, but having 1 hour after the place closes to take a few photos is not an investigation, and taking a few photos and running a few EVPs when it's open to the public and there's no one in there is still not an investigation. We were very lucky. We had this place to ourselves.
It's amazing, absolutely amazing.
For the very first time that Kels and I did it, we only had the place from 10 till 12.
Yeah.
No, sorry, 9 till 12 to ourselves. The time that we did it, that Quantum organised it, and we had the two teams in there, we had it from, God, we were actually in there setting up at 7 because it was shut to the public.
Mm.
And we set up as
Then
much
we went
as we
for dinner.
could.
Yeah.
And then we went for dinner, and then we came out and we set up the ground floor. And then we had it till after 3 a.m. We could have stayed longer, but we were so knackered. We just wanted to go. We were done. It was like, yeah, that's it. Kill it. We're done. We're done.
Mhm.
Everyone was so tired.
Yeah.
What to tell? I'm just
Correct. The first investigation in 2000. Oh no, that's
leading up to the castle entrance. Yep. Okay. I've just seen Bunny Mad put up a post. Right. But yes, tangible is right. I've been elbowed and shoved into a wall as something rushed past me. I'm inclined to believe her.
Oh, totally. I believe her. If you spoke to this woman, you would. She's not fanciful.
Oh my God, she's not.
She works there every day. She's. Yeah, there's
And
no
she's
way
not.
that
She's not terrified of being there. But the one thing she did say, and she was quite upfront about, was if you stay here past 2 a.m., this building takes on a completely different feel.
Wow.
Now, we know as paranormal investigators, and I'm so tired of paranormal investigators getting this incorrect, the witching hour is not 3 a.m. The witching hour is between 12 a.m. and 1 a.m., which is the space in between the worlds, and it's not one day or quite the next day. That is the witching hour. But 3 a.m., now 3 a.m. is when shiz happens. Between 3 and 4 a.m., you can get a lot of stuff occurring. However, you got to keep your ass up till that particular point.
I was going to say, I reckon that the most stuff happens as you're packing up, or just when you've packed up.
Thanks. I was going to say that, and we're going to cover this in our third part of executing a paranormal investigation. But I don't know. I cannot count how many times, and Barbara, you'll attest to this. Kelly, you will attest to this. How many times you pack shit up and then all of a sudden goes, did you see that?
Uh-huh.
Or did you hear that?
Yeah.
Or three people will turn around and go, I heard that. That was a voice. And everything's off.
Yeah.
Don't ever turn everything off.
Yeah.
Always keep a recorder going. Always keep a camera going. Even when you're packing up.
Yeah,
I mean, Barbara,
exactly.
tell them about, I know we're getting off Larnach here, but now that we've got onto the subject, just to back it up, tell them about the Waikino, which we're going to do in another particular podcast. But tell them about the Waikino and the fact when we were outside having a chat and having a cigarette and we walked back in the door. We weren't even in Yeah,
Are
yeah.
you sure?
We
Okay.
weren't even investigating it. God damn it.
No,
We were on
we were,
we were on what we call downtime, where we have a
Tracy
break.
was we were on the balcony, okay, at Waikino. Tracy was having a smoke. It was Tracy, myself, and my teammate at Paranormal Researchers, Ian.
And we were
The
having a
rest,
yak.
and this was a public investigation, and the people who were at the investigation, they were kind of inside. Some were just kind of chilling. Others were downstairs. They were doing EVPs. Everyone was doing their own little thing. And so we took the opportunity to get a little bit of fresh air. So that's all right. We're out there talking about how the night's going. And suddenly, this massive, massive fart rings through the air, ricochets around the balcony, across the trees, across the road. And it's like, and Tracy says, "Oh, excuse me." It's like, what the hell did that come out of your ass? What? So anyway, that's okay. That's all right. She got a bit of stick over it, believe me. But when I listened, but I happened to have a recorder in the next room. Well, when I was reviewing, there's this voice that as this rings through the air, this fart rings through the air, there's this voice that goes, "Huh?" and we couldn't debunk it.
We
Like the
can't debunk it. There was no one in the room, and there was me, Lois, and Ian, and Barbara walking back from the balcony into the room, and I
yeah,
let rip. What was it?
yeah,
Big bottom burp, and if I
it
want
was
to be
big. It
polite,
was very
and
impressive.
it was very loud. And Ian still makes jokes of it to this day.
Yes.
And I say, "Oh, excuse me," and the
Yeah.
next minute there's this, "Hey,"
Yeah.
this
It was like,
gruff old,
like,
yeah,
yeah,
"Hey," this gruff old
yeah.
voice.
That's not hey then.
It
Yeah,
was very clear. It
yeah,
was
yeah.
very clear.
So
And
then
I
we
said,
thought, okay, maybe there was someone in that room and they just walked out straight away as soon as they heard it. So we see Tracy had to send all the people who went to the event, all the males who went to the event. She had to send them an email saying, "Did you happen to hear that fart on the upstairs
it was
balcony?"
so fucking embarrassing,
And
honestly.
and
I've never
and one of the guys came back and said, "Oh, that was probably me."
He goes, "No, sorry, I didn't hear that, but it probably was me." And I went, "No, it's okay. It wasn't you. All right." "I'm so, so sorry. I'm so, so sorry." And I said, "No, it wasn't you. I knew exactly who it was. I remember doing it.
Yeah.
I remember when I did it. You can hear me quite clearly say, 'Oh, excuse me,' or whatever
We
I
had to,
said."
yeah, it was a little such ladylike, which isn't Tracy at all, but such a
The
ladylike.
fart wasn't ladylike, the sorry was, but the fart wasn't.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, so what we'll do on an upcoming haunted spotlight,
yeah.
which we'll be doing, is we will feature that audio, and
Mm-hmm.
hopefully you guys can hear
Can
what
hear
we
it. It's quite
hear.
amazing. It is quite amazing. You'll
Yeah.
you'll be impressed. You will be really impressed.
Impressed at the fart or impressed at the comment?
I know.
Oh my God, look at this. Goodness,
I know.
Tracy, you
I
dropped
saw
a
that.
huge one and scared a 19th century gentleman. Well, actually, do you know what, Bunny? The funny thing is that I said that would be exactly what would have been expected from someone of that time, a male. That was not a done thing, excuse
No,
me,
no, it wasn't.
from a lady.
Well, it's not really now. It's not even really now, is it?
Oh, Junkins, SC10. I'm dying here. Oh, not as much as I was when I heard the bloody
No,
audio, sweetheart.
no,
I'm telling
no.
you,
And I
honestly, I
couldn't
was,
wait. I
oh
could
my,
not wait. I couldn't wait to show it, like to say, "Hey, Tracy, listen to this. I think we've got an EVP."
and I'm like, oh gosh, I can't wait to hear the. And then I hear this, and I'm like, holy shit, someone's so not happy with me over that. Oh my god!
Yeah.
And I had to. Do you know the most insane thing was? I had to message the participants, going, I'm so fucking embarrassed. Barbara goes to me, you can't. And I said, Barbara, I have to. I have to eliminate
Really,
it.
Kel?
Oh, wait a minute. Listen to this.
Kel's telling
Speaking,
stories now.
speaking of the fart, Tracey did exactly the same thing on the second floor balcony of the Waikina after we wrapped up the very first open investigation. Thank you. So okay, I'm a creature of habit. What can I say?
Oh my gosh. Hey, Tracey, I'm just thinking, because we are getting onto other subjects and some people might be
Oh, we
wondering.
are, yeah.
So why don't we just put up those links and tell people where they can find out more about our investigation?
What I want to do is say that there is a whole write-up on the Quantum website about Larnach. Hi, Jessica.
Oh,
Jess. We kind of got a little bit off. We kind of got a little bit off topic there.
That's okay.
But
it was worth it. It was worth it.
It happens with lives, I guess. So we've got a lot of the history and the reputed hauntings and some photos of the original family and things like that on the Quantum Paranormal website. So there's a link. You can go in and hit that up. I will put these in the descriptions tomorrow morning so that you can click on them and it'll take you right there.
Right.
There's Paranormal Researchers website there as well.
Yep.
And there's, hang on a sec, and there's also the Facebook Quantum Foundation page, although we do actually more than often than not use the Ghosts and the Paranormal in New Zealand Facebook group. And there's also the Facebook group for paranormal researchers there as well. Now, paranormal researchers actually have a great video out on Larnach that you can view on their YouTube channel.
It also has like a number of EVPs that we captured from that night, which are quite good. Like that scream and the laugh afterwards is there. So there's a few. Oh, the yell while we were doing the dog, trying to get EVPs of the dog. There's a yell there as well. So Ian Quigley, who is my teammate at Quantum Foundation, at Paranormal Researchers. Sorry,
excuse me for 1 minute.
Ian will kill me. Ian will kill me. Okay, all right. And so he's made this video. It's amazing. Have a look at it.
Shut up, Ben.
Oh, sorry. No, she meant for me to keep talking. So Ian is a video producer, and so he's made a number of videos about our investigations. So go to the Paranormal Researchers website, which is there, also the Paranormal Researchers Facebook page. Check our videos out. We've got quite a few there. We're getting more and more all the time as we do more and more investigations, and some of them are actually pretty amazing. I wonder where Tracey went. Oh, here she is.
Sorry, guys. I have a cat screaming at me for food. It's already been fed twice tonight, but it's still screaming for food. But I can't make my babies wait. So there you go. Back in the 19th century, I suppose that meant, that probably would have made less appealing than a woman who works in a burlesque house. There wasn't even a burlesque house back then. It was called a whorehouse, let's be honest. But yes, very funny. Very, very funny, to be quite honest with you. I think the best thing that we can say about Larnach is it's very intriguing. Is it haunted? Who knows?
We have no evidence of that.
No.
but there's certainly a lot of legends, a lot of stories, and it's just an amazing place to visit and be. And
It is beautiful. It is beautiful. Go and visit it. Check out the grounds. The thing is, if you stay there, you get one free entry into the house. So don't think you can come and go, because you can't. So if you're
yeah,
going to go and do the house, do it all in the one day. And then make sure that you've nailed it. And then you've got the gardens to do the next day. You can, explore those even after you've checked out.
because
They've got it.
even the gardens have so many stories, and
Oh my
they
gosh.
are so intricate. And
That area, I'm sorry, I have to say, there's certain parts. Do you not remember me coming? We'd only been out for 2
I recall,
minutes, Barbara, and I
yeah,
came around the corner with the full spectrum holding it out in front of me, and I went, Barbara, what the fuck is that?
I
And
thought
I
I,
saw a girl, and she goes, it's a statue, and I'm like, oh Jesus Christ, oh Jesus Christ.
I didn't know Tracy particularly well at that time. I
It
was
was
like,
hilarious.
Tracy,
I'm
it's
like,
that true.
Jesus, that is not what I saw, because I'm looking through the full spectrum camera, so it was a little bit
Yeah,
different.
yeah, of course, yeah.
Okay, so Cameron Walker says, well, I'm certain Kingseat is haunted. It was a haunted house one year, and someone commented about someone in a room that wasn't being used, but stated it was the scariest one of them all. Yes, yeah, I'm sure. And both Barbara and I have done investigations at Kingseat in different areas of Kingseat. And maybe that's something we can cover in a future podcast or a future live stream. What we're going
Certainly
to
a
try
very
and
intriguing place.
Oh, absolutely. What we're going to try
Mhm.
and do, guys, is we're going to try and do more live streams than we're doing podcasts. With the service that we have, we only have a certain amount of hours a month to use on pre-recordings. But what we want to do is we want to get you guys involved and get you guys interacting with us when we're talking about this stuff and relating your stories and stuff like that. So every yes, Bunny.
Has anyone
Yes,
been to Seek? I haven't. I haven't been to Seek.
yes. I've been to
One of the few
Seacliff,
places I haven't been.
and so has Kelly Kavanagh. We have been to Seacliff, which is now the Truby King Reserve, and we have actually been into the original buildings that are left of Seacliff that are now private property. So yes, we have been. Yeah, yeah.
Guys, we're just wondering, like Tracy was saying, we haven't done a live before. We were quite nervous about tonight, but you guys have made it so easy. But give us
Thanks
some
so much.
honest
Yeah.
feedback. Give us some honest feedback, constructive criticism, honest feedback. Was it okay?
Put it in the chat. Do it now. Do it now. Let us know. I mean, we're not here to
We
be
won't be offended. We won't be offended.
professional. We're just here chilling out. So what's Bunny got to say? At some stage, I'd love to hear about that. Hubby's great aunt was in Seacliff and missed a lobotomy by 18 hours due to winning
Oh
the.
my gosh.
That was Janet Frame. Are you talking about, Bunny? Because there's actually a memorial to Janet Frame in the yes. There is a memorial to Janet Frame in what is now called the Enchanted Forest, which is more like the goddamn haunted forest. And there's a plaque there. And yes, she was scheduled on that morning for a lobotomy, and the superintendent got a notification that she had won a literary prize, and then decided that that's it. She's not getting a lobotomy. So incredibly lucky lady. Newbies, it's a start. OBS is very powerful once you get it set up and once you get used to it. Not sure we're quite ready to change yet, to be quite honest with you, Cameron. maybe in the future. Just that we're comfortable with the streaming platform that we're using now. We're just learning how to work it out.
We're just coming to grips with it. So
Yeah, we're just coming to grips with it. And the thing is that we want to get more comfortable with coming to grips with what we're using. We're using the free version because we're not prepared to pay the horrendous amount of money that they want us to pay on a per month basis. So what we can do with the free version, needless to say, we'd love the paid version, but we can't afford, it's not in the
paranormal
foreseeable.
investigating is a very expensive hobby, a very
Yeah,
expensive hobby.
yeah, exactly.
And it's not a cost that we can an extra cost that we can easily come up with.
Funny, thanks for that. We did not know about the plaque to Janet. Oh, yeah, there is a plaque there, my love. I've got a photo of it somewhere, so maybe when we do something on Seacliff, we can do that. So OBS is free. That's great. Let's make sure it's got the same functions that we want to have on here. Okay, live stream has been entertaining and great being able to see live comments. Thanks to all who contributed. Absolutely, Colette. Thank you for saying that.
Thank you.
Thank you guys so much for being here. This was our first live. I can't see how many people. Oh, yes, I can. Geez, I've just noticed it.
Oh, yeah.
Up by the live counter on the left. It says live 1.46.18.
No, I haven't got that because I'm a co-host.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So I've just noticed that. Thank you. I was looking for how many people were live at any one time. I appreciate that only 6 of you came on here. Freaking loving it. Thank you so much. One day we might maybe get up to 20. Who knows? I hope I've got a moderator to deal with that by then.
We will. We have a moderator lined up, so it's going to be a little bit easier for us. We can concentrate on you guys and on what we're saying.
Yeah.
However, they weren't able to be here tonight, and so we decided we were just going to kind of wing it and try it ourselves. And it wasn't too bad, was it, Tracey?
I didn't. Not as bad as my panic attack deemed me to consider it to be. I didn't have a panic attack. I just had a little bit of breathlessness and excitement.
Right.
No, it wasn't as bad. It was really easy. I think because we've got the free version of StreamYard and we're using the free version, we have to do things in a very roundabout way and a long-winded way. And sometimes, like, for instance, Barbara was loading the photos and unloading the photos because you can only have 10 photos at one time. I was looking at the comments. So it was all very busy behind the scenes here. 3 of us would have been really cool, plus a moderator. But next time, hopefully we will have that. Yeah. So, Sammy Marshall. Hello, Sammy. Been watching on the stream on TV. Been great watching you lovely ladies. Thank you so much, Sammy. That's really lovely. So next week, it could be a number of things we're doing. We do have down something to do, which is data review, analysis, and evidence presentation. Mm-hmm. But we also do have a part 3 to do to Paranormal Investigating 101, where we were going to walk you through what you should do during an investigation from start to finish.
Just step by step, because we realize we haven't even told you how to go. Like if you're a brand new investigator, you still really have no idea of what to actually do. We've told you what the equipment should be and what not to do, but we haven't actually told you what to do. Like you arrive,
yeah, exactly.
Probably even before when you arrive. We thought we would do a Paranormal 101 part 3. So we're hoping you'll enjoy it, and it'll give you it'll get you motivated to get out there and do some investigating for yourselves.
So that's going to be next Friday, but we're not going to be doing that one live. Well, we can do that one live if we want to, I suppose. We'll see. And either way, it's going to be released on our YouTube channel at 8 p.m. on Friday. And then the week after that, we have got a guest speaker on, which will
It's
definitely be
exciting.
alive.
That'll be
And
another new one.
that's going to be Taylor Ruddle. Taylor Ruddle is a New Zealand comedian, and he used to run the podcast, The Phantom Files. So, yeah, that's going to be really cool.
It will be. It will be.
So let's, it's been nearly 2 hours.
It has.
Oh, Bunny Mad, this is awesome. Thank you so much, Bunny Mad. We really appreciate that. We were a little bit nervous because we don't have our third sidekick here, and tasks kind of got split just between the two of us instead of three of us running them. But thank you. I appreciate that. Really appreciate all of you being in here. It's been awesome to talk to you guys live as well. Cameron says OBS will let you do PC screening, recording unlimited photos. It's on a PC app rather than a web page. No restrictions, just a bit more manual, complete control though, custom graphics and such. That's all well and good, but I'm very limited what I can do on my laptop because it's a business laptop and heaps of things are blocked. So, yeah, I have to be, StreamYard is one of the only things that isn't. So I have to be very, very mindful of what I'm able to access. I think that's pretty much it. Does anyone want to ask any questions? Thanks, Cameron. It's been entertaining, although I caught you at the end.
I just had a PM from my friend Cal who has enjoyed it. She must be too shy to actually post on here. So nice to see you, Cal, and I'm so pleased you were listening in.
Kelly Sorden?
Yes.
Thank you, Kelly. Loved watching it live tonight. Thank you so much. I'm really glad. Glad you enjoyed it, guys. We can't actually see who you are until you post, so we don't know who's in until you make a comment. So just keeping that, letting you know that for future reference. Cameron, let's go shopping. Laptops are cheap. Yeah, buddy.
Are you shouting, Cameron?
Yeah, are you shouting, Cameron? Absolutely. But thanks, guys. Thank you, everyone, for being on tonight. Really appreciated it. Any other questions you want to ask about Larnach before we go? Or Larnach, I shouldn't say Larnach, Larnach's Castle before we go.
But yes, read if you want more info. Read the Quantum Paranormal report. Have a look at the Paranormal Researchers video. You'll get lots more info from those two places.
Guys, I'm not going to update these links in the description tonight. It's probably going to be done tomorrow morning at this stage. Can we take it apart and move it somewhere else? No, we can't. So what we're going to do is I'll add all these links into the description of this live on YouTube tomorrow morning. So you'll be able to click on these and get through to where you need to go to read what you need to read, see photos you need to see, and see the fantastic video that Ian Quigley from Paranormal Researchers did when he was, him and Barbara were part of Haunted Auckland. On the investigation, took some fantastic shots, absolutely amazing drone shots, the whole 9 yards. So yeah, definitely go into Paranormal Researchers YouTube channel. As I said, the links will be up tomorrow morning, guys. That's it. Okay. Anything else, Barb?
No.
Is there anything that we've missed with regards to Larnach Castle? I know the outside is really spooky. I'm sorry. I'm going to say the outside is really spooky at freaking 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm sorry, but it is.
I'll also say a really, really cool time to go and visit it is midwinter. The first time I went there, it was snowing and the whole ground around was just white with snow. It was absolutely like a fairyland, the garden in particular.
I think Kelly said something earlier, and she said the time of year that we went there, both times, and it was freezing. We went April last time, wasn't it? I'm pretty sure it was April.
Oh, it was around Easter.
Mm. So it would have been April. We went there April
Yeah.
last time,
Yeah.
and it was chilly billy. We had our quantum t-shirts on, but we had polar necks underneath, and we had bloody jackets and cardigans over top. Honestly, it was a little bit on the chilly billy side. But yeah, definitely go. It's definitely worth it. It is not scary at all. It's a beautiful place to go and look at. Keep in mind the furniture that is in there is not actually the original furniture that the Larnach family had. Okay, it's all pre-purchased, or should I say retro purchased and put back in there from auctions, from the time frames. Alrighty.
Thank you, folks.
Thanks, guys. Really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it. You guys made it so easy to do. Thank you so much.
In nearly 2 hours.
I know. And Barbara's like, oh, we've only got an hour because we're so used to pre-recording that we've only got an hour to use on our pre-recording twice a month, and everything else has to be live. So we were kind of like, oh my God, we've only got an hour, and then realized that actually, we don't.
Yeah. Exactly.
So there's going to be lots more things we're going to be doing. We're not just going to be doing this. We're going to be doing lots of other stuff live as well. We've got a schedule written out for the rest of the year. And we're looking at using our guest speakers and our haunted spotlight sections, which is this section, doing those as lives. There's no reason why we can't do our discussions as lives, which would be really great to have you guys involved in those as well. And there can be other things that we do. Do you know what I mean? We don't need to keep to our set schedule every week. I'd love to keep to this. I'm a very black and white person, so I would love to keep to the set schedule every single week. But there's other things we can add in. So if we want to do something on, I don't know, a debunk that's occurred on the internet or something like that, we can do that live as well. So we're going to be going live a lot more, I think, now that we've done it for the first time. Yeah, Bub?
Yep.
It's better to have you guys interactive. Cameron says, if I was on we'd be there till morning. All right. Well, I just want to, guys, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it. And we're going to leave you now. And we'll see you next Friday.
Okay. Bye.
Good night, Bunny.
See you next week. Okay.
See you next week. Yeah. Bye.